to Black Conscious Conversation.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to BCC Convo. I'm your boy, Chris Diggins. This is Queen. This is our new setup, y'all. I don't know if y'all know this, but um, we've been thinking about going live with the podcast. So this is us going live with the podcast for the first time. Um, we're not going to talk about our technical difficulties.
But we resolved them, and that's all that matters.
Amen. That's right. Remember, it's about problem solving. It's not about
hmm
just
Problem
going, here's the
avoiding.
problem. Here's the
Yes.
problem. Or not even, once again, not even acknowledging the problem. We're
Just
going to,
avoiding the problem. We're just not
right.
gonna.
This is incredible. Today is part one of Black Mothers, and you're a Black mother. I'm a Black father, so we finished Black Fathers, yes, our last conversation.
hmm
Right. Um, I love the way you stick with me. Oh my God. I love the way oh man. Thank you. Queen, thank you.
No problem. I appreciate it. And I really thought about this conversation for this week as a mother. And something that my auntie said to my mom really jumped out to me. They actually got in a little argument. Sisters always fighting. But my auntie said to my mom, like, your kids are like that because you're their friend and you were never trying to be their parent. And so my mom was very offended by that because she's like, how dare you, say that about me? And at least my kids talk to me, and that's probably because I was their friend. And your kids won't even call you. So it got me to
Ooh,
thinking,
that was a
like,
deep conversation there.
I remember the generations of I'm not your friend, I'm not your friend. And then if you look in the black community amongst black women, you'll hear a lot of black women say, I ain't got no friends. I ain't got no female friends. All I have is men friends. I don't have no female friends. And so that always points back to me that you have a mother who didn't prioritize a friendship with you, who was more concerned with the parenting aspect of it and forgot that you're still a human, she's still a human, and y'all have to be able to connect on a human level too. And that connection you have is the relationships that you'll have with the other women in your community. So
I
I just don't think that that has been the most beneficial way of parenting for our community, considering the disconnect that exists amongst Black women.
I was having a conversation with some women yesterday, and my main part of the conversation was if women stuck together like men would, women could change the world. For the simple fact of if women came together just for one time and said, "Ladies, we locking it down for 6 months." Do you know how many men, or should I say, how many males, whole world would change if they couldn't get no sex for 6 months? Do y'all know how much power women would control if they would lock it all down and be faithful to each other to go, you know what, girl, I'm about to I'm about to give up. I'm about to give up. And somebody start cheerleading her on, say, go, no, we can do this. It's 6 months. Make them act right. And give men a goal for the 6 months, like they need to accomplish something that is beneficial to knowing a woman and loving a woman. Oh,
I mean, and not even just that. Like, if we could get together and come to a consensus on how we're going to raise our damn children, that would alter the whole course of the community. You got some black women teaching their men to, be providers and be the best they can be. And you got other women tearing their sons down. Another woman who is projecting their lack of love from a real man on their sons.
oh
You
my
got
God,
women
that
who
one
are
right
babying
there.
their boys and then being mean and cruel to their daughters. Like, if we could
Look,
just come
look,
to a
look.
consistency on how to raise the children,
That
that
last
would make
one,
a difference.
that last one. you just hit home with that last one. I know somebody that is such a baby boy. They're they're about to be they're either 40 or about to be 40. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
they're such a baby boy and I'm noticed that as long as black males have their mother to run back to, they'll do that shit.
And they'll never grow up.
They'll ruin a relationship. They'll move in with a girl, get an apartment together, move in together, create a life, receive mail at the same address for years together. Then just run right back to their mama's house and then think that that's okay. How we're
It's not even just like that. Like the worst kind for me as a woman and for women in general is the one that, mom is in their life. Mom may have pushed them out the house, but she never put no rules on them. She never held them accountable for nothing. She never, you know, made him do anything. So now here you are trying to date him and you're telling him like that stuff you're doing you cannot do. That stuff you doing that's not appropriate. He's taking that and running back to mom and she's telling him something totally different because all she's used to is toxicity and dysfunction. So now here you are trying to create something with this person, but the person that they look to for support and direction has no tools or no foundation to give them. So all she's able to do is baby him. So now while you're saying he need to work and you need to have a job, you need to kick in, she's saying, well, if she loves you, she would really help you out, or she got to understand that it's hard out here. And da 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 da. All this babying, which just ultimately makes it harder for us out here dating them.
and that's the thing is that we're not paying attention. We're not paying attention to that. Like we know what's going on. I apologize. I'm trying to play with this screen and make us together.
You're fine. I figured you were trying to do something like that. But I'll definitely keep talking in the meantime because as I'm sitting here
Look,
and
because
I'm
I'm
just
special.
thinking
Well,
like,
I'm special. I tell people this all the time. The average male can do two things at once. I am just the average male, so I'm talking to you and I'm trying to work the show. So I'm at my limit. But at the same time, though, like I said, though, I do understand that I am a man. Like we all we all have issues. How do I do this though? Is what I'm trying to figure out. I'm clicking the screen and I'm trying to make both of us back in the screen. I don't know how I did it, picture in picture, right? Like I don't know how I did it, but now I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. No, that didn't do it. Made me full screen. Look, this is why I should playing with this. I'm gonna call you after we get done with this, right? And we just gonna play.
yeah, and see if
So
we can work out all the kinks.
yeah, because I it, I am new to using Restream like this. However, so like you were saying, getting to a level of where black women can agree, black men and women can agree on how raising our children.
But see, it starts with the women first.
Go
And
ahead.
that is the problem that That's the part of the accountability equation that we as Black women don't want to accept. Like, it starts with us. The way that we raise our children and the standards for our children, it starts with us because from the beginning, we are the gateway between what man gets to have a child and what men don't to begin with.
Period.
So raising a child starts long before the baby gets here. It starts with the men you are choosing to have sex with, the men you
Yes.
are choosing to potentially have babies with. So, as a woman, you have to decide, and we have to come to a consensus of this is the way we're raising our children. Therefore, these men over here who don't agree with that are unacceptable, and we will not mate with them. We have to set that standard first. And that is a piece of the equation that we're accountable for. While men I hold accountable for the environment that they create, for the environment that we
I
all have to
totally
live
agree
in, the
with that one. I just
neighborhood,
want to let you know.
for the environment
For
that we
real.
create.
Yeah,
I can't hear
like
you now.
you can't hear me?
Yeah, you sounded a little muffled just then. Try again.
Oh, what about now? What about now?
Okay, yes. Now you're a lot clearer.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Look, you know me. I'll check. We'll stop the show and get this working right.
No, I want to make sure I want to make sure you're heard. People want to hear what you got to say.
Well, look, appreciate that, Queen, for real. Like I said, I'm trying to still get us to be full screen together, and it's just not working. However, that I totally agree with. Like in general, as Black men, we need to recognize that there would not be a Black man if there wasn't a Black woman. Period. And that goes for anyone, any man on this planet needs to recognize that there is no us without a woman. So for us to pretend like it's okay to just go, oh yeah, let's talk bad about women, let's dog them out, that's that definitely needs to end. And I think that's one of my honest pet peeves. And it's kind of like it's sad because you know what I mean? Like a lot of people say, "Oh, why is it sad that you're a gay man and you have so much respect for Black women or women in general?" It's not that it's not that men make me sad. It's that men males right now are being allowed to be weak. And yes, a lot of this is because feminine sexuality would rather allow them to be weak as long as they're having sex with them than to make them man up. And that's a lot of what I'm seeing.
I would have to push back on that, sir. It ain't our sexuality. This is the society. For one, women are denied their right to have sex or their sexuality, especially Black women. We're always shamed for having a sexual body, having big booties and curves. We're shamed for it. If we're dancing or shaking our ass, we're shamed for it. If we're choosing to have sex with men, we're shamed for it. And if we're choosing not to have sex with men, we're shamed for that too. And so
That's
in
what I'm
this
saying.
country,
Men
we
are
have
the
been
main reason
conditioned.
that occurs. It's
Yeah,
not that
men.
it's not that it's not that women are running around trying to say, let me put you against me, let me put you against me. When a guy brings a certain woman around his friends, that's when, or should I say, brings a female around certain friends, that's when the comparison starts. That's when all that male, whatever we want to call it, starts. That's when guys go, oh, yo, or should I say, when guys don't, when guys are not taught what jealousy is, you got guys being jealous of the fact that one of their friends have a girl.
Mhm.
Two, one of their friends have a girl that looks good. Three, one of their friends has a girl that looks good, and if all of them are Black and she's Black, psh, It's all wins like that. And then, like I said, we as the friends start the judgmental from the, or not the judgmental, we start so-called observing our own selfishnesses. Does that make sense?
No, elaborate a little more.
When guys don't have something, we talk bad about something.
Um, okay. Ooh, I get that. I see that. Because I've always had the experience of like, I've had the experience of being the girl that was with the guy who had the group of friends, who he was the only one who had the girlfriend, and she was black. But then in that case, it was always, their friends would always be like, oh, she'd be better if she was light skinned. Oh, if why you with her, like that Latin girl you was talking to was way better, and then having put these men in positions of like checking them. Now I know, like, if that's the case, I don't date men who have friends like that. I don't date men who have colors, anti-black circles. But when you're younger, you don't know what that looks like, so you're just out here dating, and you encounter it. Now I know how to avoid it. However, I do agree with you as far as like, I think that the environment that black women live in is the environment that black men create. The things that black men haven't worked out amongst themselves show up on the streets, and then it makes it more dangerous for the women and the children. And women and children can't be at their full capacity if they're constantly living in fear of danger, in fear of threat, in fear of safety, and just having safety insecurities. I'll just say it like that. So until black men have created an environment of safety and sanctuary, that is the only time that black women will be able to get together and be like, okay, now that we don't have to, look over our back, let's look at each other and let's figure this out.
And like I said, I totally agree for the simple fact of I have watched so many black men with 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 grandioso ability to be a provider. At the same time, they're 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 fighting themselves because of the simple word of awareness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awareness, I was just reading up on some things today. Awareness is always the first step, because if you are not aware there is something to change, you won't try to change it. If you're not aware of your own mental pains and scars and emotional poisons and unwilling to heal, you are always going to be a danger to yourself. And
Hmm.
this is something that black males do repeatedly. And that's one of my issues, like I said, right now. And
The
it,
self-awareness aspects of it.
yeah, is their awareness of their ability to be great. That's it. They don't want to acknowledge. It's not that black males aren't aware of their greatness. They're aware of their greatness when it comes to certain aspects of their life, right? But when it comes to specifically being that black man, that authentically black man, once again, we don't know how to be free in the first place. So if we all don't start trying to figure out how to be free, we're never going to reach that pinnacle of, like I tell people, for me as a male, the highest equivalent in life you can reach is man. Not the world's definition of man, but the actual definition. Child man. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
and you put down your childish ways. That is to hold yourself accountable to every one of your rights and your wrongs. You know what I mean? To fear nothing and not lie. Like I said last week, we lie for the stupidest of things. And I have always taught myself to catch myself before I even start one of those stupid lies. The only lie I can say I have ever had is that when I was a kid, one time I told people that my daddy was white because I wanted to know who my daddy was my whole life, right? And they was like, "Well, who's your dad?" I was just like, "My daddy's white." Like, fuck it.
Hmm.
But I was a kid though, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like in middle school when I was saying that. I was just making shit up. This was back in, and that was the one thing that I did because I wasn't. You weren't about to sit there and tell me that this individual that I was around was my dad, and I hated this individual as a kid. You know what I mean? I'm not about to give him that
Right.
power. And that's what folks wanted me to do is give this man power where I'm not about to give him power, and that I'm not even about to speak that name to him. Like that's that's my mom's husband. You know what I mean? That's who that's
Right.
always been. That ain't my dad. That's pops. What are you talking about? That ain't no. I don't. I'm the man I know as a man is my grandfather. You know what I mean? That's what I know as a man. Honest, true. Whenever you tried to get him to say something disrespectful about a person, he wouldn't. Like even he would never speak ill about anybody. You know what I mean? And it was weird. Like, how can you not how can you not call somebody out of their name, grandpa? Or but that was weird for me. And but seeing guys now and how weaker they've gotten from my stepdad to seeing now, like it's sad to know that they're just afraid to be providers. And that's the basic bottom line to it. They're
And instead of
afraid.
saying that, they just go digger this and go digger that, and I ain't and 50-50 this and I
I mean,
saw
I
today because
totally
over the
understand because
weekend.
a man is a hard thing to beat. Think about that. You know what I mean? A woman, to be a woman, like you said, you put in the work.
Hmm.
You put in the work. I I was raised a majority. There were a majority of women around, but like I said, I've had the males around. There were more. I got five brothers, and then all my
Hmm.
aunts had boys. You know what I mean? Like more
Oh
boys than
wow.
there were girls, and only one of my aunts had girls. You know what I mean? Like just had girls. Like, but it was seven girls and or two boys, four boys. I don't can't recount their family. Like, you know what I mean? It's just too many people to try to remember. And then you gotta remember they got kids. You know what I mean? And then you gotta remember those people got kids now. So the tribe has been growing and has been big for a long time. And nobody's been teaching us how to love each other in a tribe first.
Hmm.
And we're
And
doing that.
that's because, like I told you, moms, you don't need to cut you off, but it goes back to black moms and like the relationships they have with themselves, with other women, and with their children. And I just don't think that the narrative of, you know, I'm not my child's friend serves that, because if you're not teaching them how to be a friend, then where are they learning it from? They're just figuring it out as they go, as they screw up friendships. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, I know I don't want to do that again.
Well,
Or,
my son has what I call his mom's disease, which
mm,
my son's a liar. Like, you know what I mean? Only reason why I say that is because it's weird for me to hear about women that lie because lying is not something that y'all like to do. You know what I mean? For the simple fact of it's attached to a memory, right? Like when a guy lies to you guys, it's attached to, but you say you care about me, but you say you love me, if they've ever said they loved you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this dude just she just would lie about some of the craziest shit. And my son has that same syndrome. And I don't know I don't know how to ever break it or any of that, but I just tell him, I say, dude, you make males what is it called? A when they go, I need an example of the average male, or when they go, I need an example of the male that fucks up all the time
Yeah.
from lying. You know what I mean? Because that's one of the things that I've always heard. That is the biggest thing women cannot stand. Is that true?
For me, yes, absolutely. Some women do want you to lie to them. They just don't want to admit it. Some women do. But for me, yeah, that's don't lie to me. It's not
So
going to
there,
work out well because, first of all, I'm an Aquarius. So I think that has a lot to do with it. We are the smartest sign in the zodiac and we have a real empathic abilities. I'm very empathic. So when you start to lie to me, it like messes me up because I'm like, my senses are telling me that that's not the
that's
truth.
what I'm saying. I don't.
But
And
and I'm like, are
people,
you trying to say I'm stupid? You lying to me? You think I'm stupid? You think I ain't gonna feel it? You must don't really believe I'm an empath, and I won't be able to tell that you're lying to me. But
yeah,
okay,
and people don't. I don't think people understand the power of a lie. A lie is dark magic. Does that make sense? Like a lie is
it's negative energy, that's for sure.
it's dark
But it
magic.
also can be determined by like the intent of the lie.
Once
You
again,
know,
that's what makes the lie dark magic, because the belief, once again, it's magic is not good nor evil, is the wielder of it. And when those that don't know that they have power wield such a power onto someone else, they're choosing the dark that comes after that. And that's what I am learning by just people when they go, when a female goes, you lied to me, and they say the rage that comes from that, that's the amount of power put into that lie, and that's what you're getting back is tenfold your lie.
yeah. Again, back to the topic of lying, because who are notorious liars? Mothers.
Men.
No, mothers. Mothers
Oh.
have been lying. Mothers lie, okay? They lie.
Yes,
And this
yes.
is why, like, when you said that, you don't know women, you can't think of women being liars. I was like, that's because women are so damn good at it. Because we've been lying to our kids since the day they were born about certain shit. And our
I'm
kids
not
be
saying
believing
don't.
us with wholehearted belief.
I'm not
All the
saying that
love
you
in the
don't.
world.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you don't. That's wrong to say that. I do apologize. I am saying when I hear females lie, the first thing I think of is the guy. Like, that's the stupidest thing you could do.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why I think that the topic of lying is really good and mothers lying because the truth of the matter is a lot of the problems we have is because moms have been lying to their kids about the way shit works in the world for a very, very long time. Moms have been hiding their pains and their suffering So now you have generation of men out here like, oh, I don't think that, rape and sexual assault is that bad. I'm like, well, have you asked your mom? Because more than likely, have you asked your grandmama? Because more than likely, one of them have experienced, one or both or all of them have experienced some type of sexual assault or sexual harassment or violence or aggression from men. So,
Right.
if you don't have these conversations, if moms aren't honest about the things that they've experienced, then how can the world really um, change? How can the world really change, or how can there be any progress when we're still lying to our kids about what really goes on and how things really happen in this world? And so, for
When
me, I
kids,
think that's a big thing that Black moms have to do, which is start being honest about the things they've been through and being forthcoming about their experience in the world with their children. Hopefully, your moms are still around to do that with you. And if you
my
haven't done that, I
mom,
suggest you do it.
my mom, I will admit, my mom has lied to me. At the same time, though, I have had to put myself in my mother's shoes and go, why would my mom lie? How much pain could a man have caused her to make her want to exercise her domestication? Does that make sense?
Mm.
Express her form of domestication learning to me in that manner. You know what I mean? And that's just, once again, that's how they were domesticated. Does that make sense? That was
Yeah.
their that was their raising. They only know what they know.
Hmm.
They was
Which is that
raised.
you hide your pain, you don't talk about it, you push through, you overcome, you don't cry. The same stuff we taught our boys, we taught our daughters, and now Black men are very emotional, but they deny it. And it's the denial of their emotion that has them reacting with such violence and aggression in the streets. And then we have overly masculine women because they won't cry and they won't show any type of vulnerability. So
Once
those
again,
generations of holding it in and toughing through has
because
produced dysfunction.
we're, we're still not recognizing how to be free.
Mm,
Because if we still hold on to the ways that Caucasians have domesticated us, we will constantly not recognize freedom.
mm-hmm.
Um, we are we are no longer free because the judge, the victim, and the belief system don't allow us to be free. Does that make sense?
Yeah, these systems at B don't allow us to be free,
Correct.
because this system was designed to keep us in bondage. And so, until this system of white supremacy and mass patriarchy and colonization is dismantled, we will not be well, I don't want to say we're not, because I'm happy to say that my generation and a lot of the generation that's right behind us are really taking a different approach to their parenting style. This conversation around spanking is a real hot one in our community. It never has been. For years everybody was on the spank your child bandwagon. Now my generation and everyone around are pushing back, like, I don't think you have to spank your kid. Can't you talk to your kid? Can't you, isn't there some other forms of punishment that we can get to before just
Once again,
spanking our children?
if
So
if we're going to get to the understanding of each other and our children, we're going to have to get back to trying to understand, period. We have stopped trying to understand. And that's one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that I'm watching is we if we don't exercise one awareness of the problem and then two action to fix the problem. As I was telling you, my mom lied to me, so I had to find forgiveness for her. She didn't come to me with the information of who my father was and you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
any of those things. So when the answer came out the blue, right? Because the only person that knew was her. And when the answer came out the blue, I knew it was God. The only person that could answer that question the way that it needed to be answered and directly from the horse's mouth. Like, why out of all this time did I have to? And like I said, for me, that was just God saying you needed to go through a whole lot of shit to get to this point right here. Because at that time, it broke me. I'm not gonna lie. When I found out who my dad was, I wanted to die for all the evil that I had spread out into the world. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew it was from the seven deadly. And people love to say, oh, I'm talking specifically the seven deadly sins, which are in all cultures. Period. Every background knows of them and speaks of them. This is how they're known as the seven. They have been destroying humanity forever. And we have completely camouflaged their ability to destroy because pride allowed me to believe that my anger was justified. Do you understand? Pride allowed me to believe my anger was justified. If my anger was justified, that evil I could now spread. And that's what I did. As long as somebody didn't tell me who my dad was, I was an angry child. And I ran around doing everything to make, which is weird because it was almost like, you know how the movie with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt,
Which movie is that?
um, it was, I think it's called Seven,
Oh, yes. I
where he
have
finds,
seen Seven.
yeah, where he finds his,
Yeah. He
okay,
finds out who murders his dad at the horse racetrack. And I was think that was well, I don't maybe Brad Pitt was in it, but I think it was like Jake
yeah,
Gyllenhaal or
Brad
something.
Pitt at the end, his wife's head's in that box.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
that
Brad
movie.
Pitt shoots the dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that guy would you would call an extremist because he was bringing forth he was acting on supposedly making people acknowledge their seven. At the same time, he was bringing death upon himself
Mm,
and didn't want to do it himself. And
mm.
that is the extremes that people psychologically will go through if these traumas are not worked out.
Address.
Period.
Yeah, yeah. But in order for that to be the case, mama's got to start being honest. I know so many boys who, had mean moms. Moms was just nasty and mean. And so they just internalized that to mean that black people are nasty and mean and never got to see beyond, that to like, oh, okay, my mom is also somebody who was abused by somebody who then abused me. Like
Oh
this
yeah,
is a
because
cycle of
I
abuse. It's
told
not that
you,
she was bad and everyone's bad like her.
yeah, because I told you when I first met you, I said you give me this Claire Huxtable type of vibe. And that is something that black males don't know about. A lot of black males do not know about that type of love. You're right. And in all honesty, I do believe a lot of black males' drama, first off, trauma, is from mothers. You know, like I said, I I know someone, I know several people, not someone. I know several niggas that have abandonment issues.
Hmm.
And they run from they're like I said, not even that they run back home to their mother's house. Like a woman, they already know who they're going to run to after they leave
Hmm.
the guy that they're with. I don't know if you've ever done that, but uh, there's a history of females in healthcare that know the guy that they're going to move on to next before they leave the guy that they've been with for a while.
I mean, that's a historical thing because, prior to, you couldn't be a single woman. Like, you had to be married. So if
Right.
you were going to leave a man, you better have had a man that you can go to, because
Oh,
owning a home and putting a home in your name was against the law. You couldn't travel in this country without
oh,
papers, a letter from your husband explicitly saying she's going here, this place, this time, and his signature. So when they used to check tickets and they asked for your papers, women had to pull out their papers from their father that said, "Hey, I'm allowed to travel." So historically, the single woman is new because it could never exist in the past. We always had to have another man, and if daddy was passed on, or you didn't have brothers, or you didn't have cousins like that, which is also how women ended up marrying their cousins, right? Because the only man
oh,
that was
wow.
available was their cousin, and so they had to make that leap over it that way
That
because there was
one
no
right
other way.
there.
There's no way for a single woman to exist in the past. Like, you couldn't rent, you couldn't own property, you couldn't buy a car. Like, that just didn't exist. So of course some things are still left over like that, which is why today you'll still see women who, if they're leaving one man, they'll make sure they have another. But there's a much larger number of women who are just being single now.
Yes.
I think
Now
that's the
that is
reality.
that's something that I am noticing. I'm also noticing that you have a lot of once, as you also said, you have a lot of women that are choosing to be bi, and
Yeah.
and
Choosy are just allowing themselves to explore that as a possibility, where in the past it was never even, because two women couldn't own shit. So, like, two women coming together, like, there was no way for that.
but
So
it's so
now you can, like, now I could be single and I can actually look at what I like, and I'm not forced into some situation because of the environmental circumstances. Laws, monogamy, all that shit have always been things that men imposed on women. I wholeheartedly think that women would choose to be single and just have sex with a guy every now and again. Get pregnant and be okay. But because men's sex drive tends to be a lot higher than women's, and this is not biased. This
are
is
you
just
sure?
science. Yeah, it's science. To a certain extent, once women get to a certain age,
Now if
sex
we
just
get
starts
to
to be
now if
less
we get
important.
if we get to a science now, let's not use that. No, that's not I, I'm saying this as somebody whose his background is healthcare. Don't, because for some reason, when especially women, when they get when they get a little bit mature, for some reason their sex drive can
Yeah, but that's a nowadays thing. Historically, that's not the case. Historically, women, we didn't even live as long as we're living now. So we had no reference for that sex would get better
the
later.
study is done on a retirement communities in Florida, and
Yeah.
how the rise of STDs has come up, right? It used to be just women running around catching the STDs, but then when Viagra was introduced, The game changed.
So now everybody getting it.
Right. Everybody's catching viruses.
Right, but that still has
Retirement
no
disease.
bearings on what I'm saying.
No, I'm
The
saying, but
point of the matter is that
it
women
was
don't
it was
crave or
freaky women
desire
that was
sex
just going
nearly as
around.
much as men do, which is why women don't account for as many sexual crimes because we don't have that drive to be out there doing that type of thing. If we're not having sex,
I think
we're
men do
content
it
with not
because they're
having it.
muscly. I think men do it because
Maybe,
they're stronger.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, because
And
women are
and
stronger than
psycho-
boys in a certain sense, and other women.
right, right. And let's not even play, like I said, women are smart. Let's not even play the games. Let's, you know what I mean? That right there within itself is we're not talking about just book smarts. We're talking about the combination of being able to learn, comprehend, understand, and life. Women are smart. You put all those factors with a guy, guys are book smart. When situations with practice, guys are smarter on a day-to-day basis, but it has to be something that they put into a routine on a day-to-day basis, and they're trained. We're trained like dogs to be better people. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And that's just it. If somebody's not putting in the work to be better people, guys aren't going to be better people. But guys are also allowed to be that sorry dude. Like, for some reason, there's always a girl that thinks I can save him.
That's because that's what we've been conditioned to believe. We've been conditioned to believe that we are the savior for men,
But
that
he's saying
Adam,
I'm a piece of
Eve was
shit.
created for Adam, and that Adam was incomplete until Eve came along. So, as women, you're going around feeling like, oh, my job is to fix, my job is to heal, my job is to accept you when you're broken and to nurture
Right.
you back to whatever sense of strength
And they
that
don't
it is.
and
And
they
it's
love to
fairly
not
new.
tell women about Lilith, the rebellion. They
Yeah,
don't they
she's
don't
not even in it.
they don't even love they don't love to, they're afraid to talk about Lilith the rebellion. For real. Lilith was not going to be man's baby maker. That's basically what she that's basically what she said. Fuck
So,
no, I'm
yeah.
not just gonna lay up and make babies. Like and I totally get it. Like, you know what I mean? There is a misconception in a lot of the story of the beginning. You know what I mean? I mean,
Not even misconceptions. It's just whole
oh
rewrites
yeah. But like I
and
said,
omissions.
for me though, I also like to play my history facts. Okay, and my history facts also know that one, Jesus was real. Period. Point blank. It's not a speculation or assumption. It is a dead ass fact. Period. I know that he was a black man, or should I say, a man of color. Period. Point blank. You understand? I know that this individual was a carpenter and went to work every day. I know that they teach about him in Italy history because they were the ones who initiated his death. His murder was initiated by Rome. Period. He was stabbed on a cross and vinegar put in his wound. Like
I don't
this,
know about this Jesus person. I know of Horus and I know of Isis, who were the originals of the story. I don't know about this
I
Christian
know because
Catholic
they
rewrite
educate
of
their
the
history
story.
on it throughout Rome. So you know what I mean? They
I mean,
talk
they
about
teach the
Jesus the
rewritten
drunkard.
version of it until
They
you know the
no, they
story of
talk about
Horus
Jesus the
and
drunkard. They don't talk about
Isis.
Jesus the Savior. They talk about Jesus being a drunkard.
Yeah, but they talk about the rewritten version of it, not the version that they stole from Egypt, that they changed the names and changed the faces. His name is Horus. His mother was Isis or Aset.
I'm I'm not
Those are
saying
their
I
stories.
I know that factual. I know
That's written in stone. in our land, in our language.
I know, and I know the Moors are also the same people that made that information known when it comes to Jesus being known. His name ain't
Yeah,
Jesus, yeah,
the name of
because there's no
Jesus.
way to say the letter J in any language but English. If that's what you're trying to tell me, I totally understand. This is
Yeah,
why
and we
I
got to stop
understand.
referring to the colonizers' version of our stories as the legit version when it's not. It's
But
not
at
his
the
real
same
name. That's
time,
not his real story. And if we continue to perpetuate it, we're going to continue to live in
at the same
non-reality. The
time,
reality is that it's just not real.
it's a foundation for everyone to try to grasp the story.
Yeah, it's a bad foundation.
Either
It's
which
led to a
way.
lot of chaos. It's led to a lot of confusion and wars. It's
Everything
a bad
about them,
foundation.
everything about the rise of Rome has been about destruction. Everybody likes, or should I say, Europeans like to tell us what Romans did for the world. That's not us.
And then they leave out the fact that the Romans learned from the Egyptians and the Moors. They didn't do anything for the world. They
Once
took the
again,
knowledge that we
this is why
shared with
I
them and they just put their name on it and wrote us out of history. And as
this is
long as
why
we
I love
continue
TikTok. There
to overlook that, we're going to continue to stay behind. We got to stop. That's just how I see it. We got to stop referring to their version of this history as being the
This is why
absolute
I
version because
love
it's not.
TikTok, because you got individuals, more children and their ancestors teaching the proper education and history of what happened in Europe. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people did not know that the so-called kings and queens of Europe were also sleeping in the same areas that their pigs were living in, and their
Mm.
goats and their dogs and all of that. Like, you looked across the room and you would see horses and cows, and like, no, you're not supposed to sleep with your animals. Like,
That they waddled in filth and then they wondered why they had 2 and 3 and 4 plagues. Like,
well, once again, the Black Death came from Asia. They brought it, they spread it. Yeah, I mean, their boats were the ones that brought it from Asia. And in general,
but it was
if
able to easily spread there because they didn't historically wash their hands or their ass and threw
once
their
again, and
feces
they
in the
had their
street.
animals all together living with them. Once again,
It
yes,
just created a
this is
cesspool of bacteria and
disease.
germs, and
This is
everyone
why I
else
love
knew this.
telling. This is why I love telling people though about Netflix Explained. Now, you don't have to watch Netflix Explained, but there are very informational facts on there. The ones that I have a problem with, like there's one episode where they talk about marijuana and it causing schizophrenia and psych psychosis.
Hmm.
I don't know too many people who use marijuana that have schizophrenia. I
I
do
do.
know I do know one person or two people where
Yeah,
I
I
can
know one or
see
two people. Yeah.
psychosis being an issue where they believe one thing about themselves and the actual factuals about themselves are not. So it's more like I would say not just psychosis. It would be like more like a sociopath with narcissistic tendencies.
Mm. I think I expressed this on the show here that I had an on and off relationship with a man who was diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic, and he smoked weed all year round. Like,
Right now,
so when he wasn't
please,
having episodes of psychosis, he was smoking, and when he was having episodes of psychosis, he was smoking. So whether it was the marijuana that caused the psychosis or that was making him more, you know, psychoactive. I don't know. That's for sure. Because even when he wasn't having moments of psychosis, he would still be smoking marijuana. And long before he was smoking marijuana, he was drinking to cope with his psychosis. So
And he
I
was
don't know.
diagnosed doing this?
Yeah, he was diagnosed. I mean, he's always been smoking, and we black, he black. He ain't go
Right.
tell the
But
doctors
see,
that he's smoking and drinking. Like he not go. No one is honest when they ask those damn questions. Most of the time, people lie, and then doctors go back and find out, like, well, actually, your toxicology says something else. Most people are like, no, I don't smoke, or no, I don't. No, I didn't have anything to drink. So I'm sure he may have not been being as honest with them about it, but as far as he's been in treatment and been working with his therapist and things like that in the time that I've known him. And it's been a known thing, I think, even as far back as him being in high school, that he suffered for this thing. So he was even in treatment back then. But I know he started drinking liquor around 13, 12.
that's wow. And see, like, okay, like 10 years ago, we'll say about not even 10 years ago, like, yeah, not, it's probably going on about 8 years that I've left healthcare. So there was a patient who his mom just wouldn't do right by him. You know what I mean? He's on dialysis, but yet she's not understanding that she needs to be involved in her child's life. And as soon as he turned 17, it was like he was taking care of himself on dialysis. And
Mm,
then they found him dead.
so sad.
It's it's this conversation is reminding me, like you said, mothers' roles are intricate in the lives
Intricate.
of
And
of
parenting
us.
starts long before the child is born. It starts with the men you're having sex with. Because when you have a
Amen.
child with the man you hate, we would all like to say that we're going to be the bigger person and we're not going to take it out on the child. But some of us do. And
I
so, in
am
order to
one.
prevent that, we have to start teaching women to be more responsible about filtering the guys up front. I understand that you can't choose when you get pregnant because, it happens. However, if you're choosing the men that you are having sex with more accurately, then the
You
pregnancy
have
thing
the
will be
power
less
of the
of a
pregnancy.
burden.
Yep, you have the
I
power of
only
the
have
pregnancy.
sex with guys. I'm putting it out there. I only have sex with guys who are a-okay with me being pregnant and are in financial situations to be able to provide for them. If you are not, then more than likely I will be hesitant. And even if I am engaging in something with you, it will probably come to an end, eventually, because I'll come to a reality like I wouldn't want to be pregnant by you at all. So let me just put a little
I
distance.
look, one day I am going to do something worthy of someone to love me. Right now, I am doing the best that I can, working on me, trying to be the best me that I can be, learning. I am loving the individual that I am growing to be. Like I said, I've created something that I love, which is Black Conscious Convo, which is all us having conversation about being alive. As you know, a lot of people like to say, "What is conscious?" Just like if an AI came to life, or I don't
For me,
know.
consciousness is a society and social awareness of a behavior and action that is conducive to the growth of our overall society. So, if you are conscious, you are aware
You're
of
alive.
how you are a part of the system, and you will make sure that you take actions that are going to be positive and conducive to this society growing and moving forward. And to not be conscious is to do the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, I just keep it short. To be alive, that's on you. I don't want to take away from anybody. Um,
Mm.
we, like I said, I've been trying to help other people learn what I have learned. Forgiveness. Um, through therapy, once again, forgiveness is possible. We got to start with one, forgiving ourselves, and then once again, becoming aware and forgiving ourselves. If you're not forgiven, you're not living. That's my saying tonight's show. What about you, young lady? You got one of them?
Um, no, but man, love your kids. Be friends with them. Talk to them.
Amen.
Open up to them. Be vulnerable with them. Because that's the only way
Amen.
they're going to learn how to do it.
Once again, you can reach out to Miss Queen right here. Follow her on Instagram as on the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
Right? And then you can follow your boy right here on Instagram. And then you can also check us both out on www.blackccant.com. That is our for tonight, young lady. Part 2. This is going to be something else because I
Yeah,
know
for
to
sure. I
get
think
to
this
something.
one. Yeah, you
I
missed.
want
What was it?
well because I like I said, I'm a product of a mother who was lied. So you know what I mean? I think people need
Hmm.
to learn how to forgive at the same time. You can't pressure your peoples to get right because that's something that they now have to start fighting themselves. The lying. So like I said, guys lie for stupid reasons.
Right.
Don't even make no sense. We just be like I said, be in conversation with our friends and just lie. Like it be the littlest ones. You know what I mean? It ain't like nobody. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Um, and lies have consequences, even small ones. Even when we lie to small kids and small people, and people think that it's our job to like protect our children from reality. And my belief is that it's our job to explain reality so that they have an understanding of it. Um, that way, they know what to do and how to feel when they encounter it. So I just look at things that way, and it's very unorthodox. I get a lot of arguments with my family because they don't necessarily believe in how I'm doing things, because my belief is to let you see it and then explain it. Like, I'm not going to shield you from the world, but I am going to explain how the world works to you as you're seeing it in real time. So,
That's what makes you one of the rare ones, Queen. Once again, it is great doing shows with you. I'm grateful and thankful for you being my co-host. Trust me, the show is as much yours as it is mine because we are a partnership with this. It's you know what I mean. The convo is what it is, and it wouldn't be what it is without somebody great like you, Queen.
oh, thank you so much. I appreciate being here, and everyone have a good night and have a great week.
You too. Once again, everybody, conversation rules the nation. Action speaks louder than words. Holla at your boy.
If you ready, the death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life, just listen to my story. You lost your best friend, shit's got you stressing. Wanna find a fool who didn't cock back your weapon. Don't wanna look to the church for confessions. If you kill him, you can end up in corrections. Some look for the needles and drugs for injections. When I lost Caesar, I was ready for the action. This shit hurts hard, and it really did. But you gotta let the pain go, and that's how you live. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life, just listen to my stories. Falling in love may be easy to some of y'all, but some people in this world have downfalls. Been in love so many times, their heart got lockjaw. Mention the word love, pause, and the tears start to crawl down their face fast like Niagara Falls. Feeling you had them messed up like prank calls. Why it gotta be so damn hard trying to find the right one? Set your standards high and get this like an M1. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life, just listen to my stories. Phone bill is due, rent and cars too. By the end of the month and you got no food. Mom at home first and dad can't go to work. That's only if you had a dad, imagine that hurt. 4 kids in one house, one mom and no spouse. Not enough room and family sleep on the couch. You don't know why and you looking for an answer. Just found out grandpa got cancer. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pains of life, just listen to my stories. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain in life, just listen to my stories.